honestly, there's so much stuff going on about all these new reform councillors, from the fact that they've made all these, well, interesting in air quotes, posts on social media about certain historical figures or events that happened in history. I don't really need to go over those. I think, because I think we can all agree those are, quite bad. But we are now getting to the point, as I said this week, we are seeing these reform councils actually start to form the cabinet. We are seeing them actually start to put people in leadership positions. And as we keep on covering, there are people being appointed to these positions that have absolutely no idea what on earth they are doing. And that is going to result in some very, very bad things happening in your council, in your local authority. And it is only a matter of time. Because for one of the things, if you live in Leicestershire, Reform UK have put a 19-year-old who has no political experience, no experience of being on a council, in anything like that, and they've put him in charge of child services. And we'll get more into that later in the video, but that should be worrying you. That should be very, very much worrying you if you live in Leicestershire. As you'll see in a moment, quite an important position, and they've put a 19-year-old in there who has no clue what he's doing. And it is not just this example, it is numerous examples in all these different 10 authorities that they've taken control of. This is going to lead to disaster after scandal after disaster. And it is now just, when does the first one arrive? When does the first one hit? I guarantee you we aren't going to have to wait long. Guarantee you we are not going to have to wait long. So before we go into this, please do remember to click on the like, share, and subscribe button. And of course, down below, there are links to my Patreon page, the One Off Station link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can all buy me coffee, the YouTube thank you button, there's the Pony Club as well down below, the YouTube subscription. And of course, thank you very much to everyone who does help and support the channel that way. And of course, you can always click the like and share button down below as well. That helps out the channel too. So let's go on into this then, shall we? So, Leicester Mercury, good old Leicester. Like I say, I've said before, I went to uni in Leicester, so I have a soft spot for the city. So let's go on into this. But oh my word. I say, I alluded to what's coming, and we'll go into that in a moment. But like I say, this is what is happening up and down the country in these 10 authorities right now. Time bomb. When does the first one go off? Because, oh boy, they are setting themselves up for some huge failures on this. So, who's in charge of what as now the Reform UK leads the Leicestershire County Council? So, Leicestershire County Council has become the very first authority in the country to now formally select a Reform UK leader. The Reform UK, the former Conservative councillor Dan Harrison, was confirmed now as head of the council on Wednesday, after the party won 25 seats out of its 55 seats this year's local elections. His deputy, Don Brougham, who also officially took up his office yesterday, is now a full council meeting. Further confirmed, the chair and, of course, vice chair of the authority is Paul Harrison. Andrew Hamilton Gray received after the party's success earlier at this polls. The other council 8 cabinet roles also now need to be filled during that meeting, where Councillor Brougham will combine his deputy duties with those now as lead member for adult social care, Leicester County Council has said. So there is not only that, but he's also in charge of adult social care. And this isn't even the worst one. This isn't the worst one. In a statement on Twitter, Councillor Bourne said that he was incredibly honoured to have been appointed now to these two positions. He said it is a huge privilege to be entrusted with this responsibility, and I am committed to now delivering real change and support now to the residents across our county. Again, what change is that? What's he going to do to improve adult social care in Leicester? Don't think he's going to be improving that at all. However, here we come on to, I think, the most worrying one. So, the children's services will be taken on by teenage councillor Charles Pugsley. Councillor Pugsley said, at the age of 19, I've only just been appointed the cabinet member of children's services at Leicester County Council. Some say I'm young. I say that's exactly what this role needs. It really isn't what the role needs. It really isn't what the role needs. And we'll get into what he's responsible for. And you cannot tell me, there is no one who can seriously type a comment in a straight face seriously and somehow tell me this guy is prepared for his position. So he continued, said, I understand the challenges of young people that they face today because I've been there. Now I'm making sure that their voices are heard. So this was what someone said. So actually, no, we'll read what the responsibilities are before we get into that. So this is what someone who is in this seat would be responsible for. So they are responsible for overseeing the planning and development and delivery of children's services. This includes safeguarding, education, and early help. Right? Those are his three areas. Do you think that 19-year-old is going to be good at delivering that, coming up with plans, policy to deliver for those? So, first of all, political leadership and advocacy. He's got to have a strategic vision for this. Do you think he's got a strategic vision for any of this, for children's services, ensuring that there's going to be a strong and coordinated approach to it? You know, do you think he's going to do that? I don't think so. And then the delivery. This is some of the big stuff. So he's going to be overseeing the planning, development, and delivery now of children's services, ensuring that they are now effective and efficient. He's going to be responsible for the whole budget of children's services as well. He's also going to be responsible for the performance monitoring now of all those children's services, but he is also now going to be commissioning on this. They will be able to judge now the overall effectiveness of the commissioning arrangements, ensuring that services are delivered now in the most effective way. Do you think he's going to have experience in anything like that to be able to say which is being delivered in the most effective way? And then when it comes to some really specific areas, safeguarding, he is responsible for ensuring the safety and well-being of all children, working with statutory partners to now implement safeguarding procedures and policies. That is easily one of the most important roles he's going to be in charge of. Do you think he's ready for that responsibility? I don't think so. And then education. He's going to be responsible for the educational excellence, including school improvement and special needs education. Do you think he's got any experience when it comes to anything like that? He's also going to have a very big particular focus on the needs of vulnerable children and young people, ensuring that they have access to support they need. Don't think he's prepared for that either. He's also got to provide and promote fair access to all services for all children and young people, including those from disadvantaged backgrounds. How long do you think we get before we start to hear stories that some of these reform councillors have been not providing that fair access to certain groups? Then this is where it also comes, early help. They are responsible now for promoting early help interventions which aim to support children and families before situations escalate. He's also going to be responsible for every child in care in that authority, making sure that that they get everything they need from education to health and well-being. Given that he is now responsible for all that, does it not worry you that this 19-year-old with no experience except, oh, he's young, he's been there, done that, got the t-shirt, right? He is not ready for this. He is not ready for that role. Something wrong is going to go wrong very, very quickly in that role, and it is going to end up in a disaster of epic proportions. So now, continuing back to this. So he was wished luck in his appointment by the outgoing leader for Children and Family Services, Deborah Taylor, who said, "This is a huge role with over 200 statutory duties as set out in the Children's Act of 2004. Helen Butler will lead on resources. Again, like I say, he's not ready for this. He is not ready for this. He's going to be absolutely eaten alive. So back to this. Anyway, Helen Butler will now lead on resources, including the oversight of the council's finances. Health is, of course, in the hands of Michael Squires. The full list of the new cabinet members can now be found below. Speaking in the chamber on Wednesday, the new council leader said, "It's a very great honour and privilege to lead Leicester County Council. 100 at the office is very important. However, his appointment was not accepted by all in the chamber, just with, of course, just now his own party supporting it. The Conservative Party now forms, of course, the main opposition. The Liberal Democrats obviously abstained from the vote. However, Labour's two other councillors and newly elected Green councillor Naomi Bromley voted against Councillor Harrison from taking on the leadership position. Councillor Bromley told the Leicestershire Live after the meeting, "This is a time for dialogue, not dominance. While I respect the voters who did support Reform UK, I was elected to represent the division of Selby and Wolds because of my green values, the climate responsibility, social economic fairness, and inclusive communities. At present, I do not believe that Reform UK's platforms reflect those priorities. This is not about party politics or alliances. It is about trying to stay true to their commitments I made to my residents. I believe the leadership of the council should be based on the cooperation and shared values, not simply seat numbers. I remain, of course, ready to work constructively with any administration that puts all the people of Leicestershire and the future of the communities now at the heart of its work." And we'll see what happens on this, because it already seems they're going to be butting heads with the Conservative group. So the disagreement was also rife when it came to now who should be chairing the scrutiny committee going forwards, with the Conservative group saying that they, as now the main opposition, should take on those roles. They argued that Reform, while the largest party, fell short of a majority. Electing Conservative councillors to scrutiny chair roles would also allow them to be, quote, a check and balance, the group said. They also questioned why the Liberal Democrats had been picked for some now of those positions when they were not even, the quote, the official opposition. It is because they hate the Conservatives. They hate them with a passion. That's why they're not going to choose anyone from these Conservative groups. And that's ultimately what's going to be some of the biggest headbutting that goes on in these councils. Councillor Taylor, who is now leader of the opposition on the authority, said, "We need to be very clear. Reform were, of course, the largest party, and that's why they formed the administration. We respect that. That's why we didn't vote against it. But we also have to remember that all those people who voted, only 23% of the people voted for Reform. 68% voted for other parties." Very true. Very true indeed. I've been making the case before about our reforming our voting system. It also should be changed as how we look at forming councils and how that is done at a local level as well. Responding now to the Conservative comments, accusing them now of, quote, cynical barring across the chamber, he added that it was, quote, all about communication and that the Conservatives were, quote, too late in making their request. He said, "At the end of the day, they're all here to sit down for the people, for the best for the people of Leicestershire, and you don't get anywhere without talking." Speaking now to Leicestershire Live after the meeting, Councillor Taylor said she was, quote, disappointed with some of the comments made. They added that Councillor Hallison wasn't even elected as a leader until Monday, and to have time to have these conversations when they took so long to pick a leader, I think it is very, very difficult. When asked about how these cross-party relationships work going forward, she said, "They have no plan. That's my problem. They have no plan. They have no policy. They have no manifesto. I don't know what they're going to be proposing going forward." And this is the big problem in a lot of these places. They have been elected running on a manifesto about national issues to which they have no recourse to do anything about, because that is what goes on in Westminster. At a local council level, they have different responsibilities, different things, and they've put forward no manifesto of what they intend to do on all this stuff. No idea, no clue. Some obviously are previous experienced councillors from, well, the Conservatives, but that's not the majority of where these councillors came from. It's like this 19-year-old who's being put in charge of child services. What could possibly go wrong? Anyway, they continued saying, "We'll just obviously have to wait and see and decide what plans they've got going forward, because I've got nothing to go on at the moment. So I don't even think it's a case of watch and see when they get themselves sorted out." So here is a council who ran, got elected, and has absolutely no plan of what to do going forward. It sure is a good idea that they've got that unit down in London that's going to sort of dictate to them what they're going to do going forward, isn't it? Anyway, I'd be interested to see what the comments say about this. So I've got to think that the people of Leicestershire are not going to be having good policies like that. Yeah, someone says, "At last, local potholes will be sorted. Let's all rejoice at this news." They probably won't, because they said nothing about that in that response. So what are there actually local policies for the county council? Someone said, "I don't know. Lots of flag waving, showboating locally, and even national privatising the NHS are the policies." Um, Yep. Someone says, "Remember the names, remember their promises. This is on them now. Reform, own what comes next, and they can't blame anyone else." Yep, exactly. Well, that's all about bringing experience into their roles. What is that experience, I hear you ask? The answer is none. Pugsley, I remember him, the Adams family, and they're now in charge. Unbelievable. So yeah, good luck. Good luck, because that right there is going to be a disaster. Disaster waiting to happen. And like I say, I'll keep on covering this and keep on covering what goes on, because I think local politics in certain 10 different places is going to get quite interesting very quickly, quite possibly. So I'm sorry if you do live in that area. But yeah, you should have turned out to vote, because I'm sorry, 30% national turnout, when you look at the turnout for all these places, 30% was the average. It was even lower than that in a lot of other areas. But yeah, so good luck to the people of Leicestershire. But you know who to blame when things start to go wrong. It's not the Conservatives, it's not Labour, it's not the Liberal Democrats, it's not the Greens, it's Reform. And I hope you blame them. And I hope you remember why maybe you need to go out and vote next time that these local elections happen, because they are pretty important. Because when you get people like this that haven't got a goddamn clue, that are going in there with no clear policy of what they're going to do, you're going to find out very hard. And I have a lot of sympathy for you, but hey, a lot of you didn't even go out and vote. So maybe next time think about that. But as always, thank you very much for watching. And of course, as always, we'll see you all next time. And if you are from Leicestershire, please do comment down below. I'd love to know what you think. So, as always, until then, we'll see you all very soon.